Hello, welcome back, designers. We are jumping into Responsive Layout Basics, Chapter 8. It is my favorite, and it is also a beast. So, it is really important order of operations in this chapter and checking yourself and making sure that you're using some of the troubleshooting tools that we have available is going to become really apparent in here. Because if things don't work, we need to figure out how to figure out why they're not working. When I taught this class in person, I I struggled so hard on some of these because I wasn't, well, first of all, I wasn't looking at the instructor solution, but then I was not, I didn't run like my code through the validator, and I was just kind of like struggling. And I think I could have stopped struggling a lot quicker if I would have ran my code through the validator. So the CSS validator, the HTML validator. The HTML, I pretty much have, on lockdown. But it's the CSS in this that gets really complex and tricky. And at one point, I ran my CSS through the validator and it told me exactly what the problem was. And when I get to that place, I'll actually show you. But the first thing is first, we are on page 300. And I'm going ahead and I'm copying my folder. I'm going to rename it. All right, here I am, chapter 8. First thing I'm going to do, I'm kind of sick of having all my images in one folder. I'm going to make a new folder. And then I'm going to go and I'm going to take these images, and I'm going to put them all in my images folder. Great. And then I'm going to go to my Pacific.css because obviously I just screwed everything up. I'm going to hit Control F and I'm going to find URLs because URLs is how, right? It's the Uniform Resource Locator. So in this case, it's just talking about my the containing file. So I'm going to change that. Let's go find one more. I'm just going to put images / find images / Great. Now I'm going to save this. Okay. Next. All right. Or let's make sure I have all of them. Yep. Okay, great. So I have the list. Let's see. List. Let me find that. Make sure. Oh, I did it. Okay, great. Next. Let's get into this. So what we are doing today is we're going to use mobile first design. So we are going to make it so that these files that we're going to make it so that we think about the mobile first, because we're talking about the people that are sitting there and they're doing all their initial searching on whatever it is that they are searching for. They're doing it on their mobile device. And so we want to think about them first because it's the most like strict environment. So to do that, I'm actually going to jump into the browser really fast, and I'm going to go in and open my index. I want to see what it looks like right now on a mobile device. So there's a couple things we can do. What I've done is I've opened up to inspect. Here's me inspecting my page. This is what it would look like about here. Is going to be mobile design. This is horrible. I have a horizontal scroll bar. No horizontal scroll bars. Those are very bad. So this, guess is okay if, I'm here, but it's not okay when I start to, change the screen size. So I want to change that. So I'm going to go back to inspect and show you. I can tell as I resize this, I can tell, up at the top, right above the title of the heading of the page, I can see what's happening. The width of my viewport is changing, and I can watch. Okay, and I can watch how big it gets. And so these are like, these can be considered breakpoints. All right, now, what is restricting us? Right now, basically, chapter 8, we're going to blow up the restrictions. And so, what are the restrictions right now? And I could tell you right away anything that, not this 80%, but anything that is forcing, well, max width, that's fine. Minimum width of 960. What if I get rid of that? Whoa, did you see that? Isn't that weird? Okay. So the whole point of this project becomes making this mobile first design in which we think about our mobile design and then we get into the other types of design, medium, large. So let's get through it. We're getting to task 1. All right, so we are going to start by breaking apart everything that makes our file restrict. But first, I want to show you, I actually moved all our images into an image folder because it was driving me crazy. And then I used my find feature to find all the images using the URL feature. And I added this new path, images / marker.gif and all the other ones. Okay. And I use that find. And one of the things in this project that I'm going to be emphasizing a ton is using find to edit your code. Okay, so our HTML is fine right now. Okay, nothing's changing in our structure, but we're going to break apart the CSS that tells the structure how it should display. Gotta get rid of that horizontal scroll bar, my #1 enemy. So the first thing I'm going to do is find my float. Oh, I have the wrong CSS open. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is find my float and I'm going to destroy it. I actually don't use floats in responsive design because as the screen moves, the floats mess up. Okay, it's very rare that you can use a float that works. I'm sure there are certain cases. Here's my float and my navigation, and while I'm at it, I'm just going to get rid of the width because I know at some point I'm going to have to. I think we go back and do something with the navigation a little later. Let's see what else. Find the next one. Okay, sections, float, getting rid of those. And interestingly, in the future of this task, which I failed to remind you is on page, right now, we are on page 301 in our text. Okay, no more floats. Let's look for margins. Okay, so we have to destroy all the left margins that are creating that main element to be more in the middle and to give that entire navigation on the left its own little space. We got to delete all that. So we have the footer, we have all of the hero images. I'm just pointing out that, remember I changed this path. Okay. All right, so I'm finding more margins. So this actually, this whole wrapper, I still want the auto margin, but I can just change the whole margin to auto. I don't have to have margin left auto, margin right auto. So just change the whole thing And then I'm getting rid of all this. Width, min width, max width. And I think I skipped a step, so I'll go back. I need to edit more styles for the navigation selector. Because earlier we did the width declaration, we got rid of that, but we did not set the padding to 0. All right, let's just get rid of the box shadow. Get rid of all that. There we go. Let's see, do I have any others? Another main, of course. It's being scooted over for the navigation to live. We're going to get rid of that too. We're going to make it so that it's more defined by the size of the screen. So grid, it's going to be like an automatic process rather than when we use grid, it's an automatic process of figuring out the sizing based on fractions or based on the rest of the free space. So we're going to do that in task 3 or task 3. Wait. Yeah, 3 and 4. And it gets a little tricky. We'll talk about it. So I've just done the padding for the navigation. Okay, it says that I have to do a navigation list selector, which I don't have. I'm just going to beautify this real quick. There we go. That's much better. That helps me. So now let's do the nav list descendant selector so that only the list items in the navigation will be affected by my style. Okay, really quick, here's a tangent that I want to go on. I saw somebody's code and I loved this method of commenting. They put in this line, really obvious line separating the sections, especially sections that belong together, right? So the navigation is its very own section. It's outside main, it's outside header, all that. It's not in the div for the hero image. So I can really separate that, and did that here for main as well. So now I know this entire area is my navigation. All right, so the list item needs to now, I'm going to give it a border, solid bottom border. And yeah, so basically what this is, and I'm going to give it a, I believe I'm going to make the center text. Oh, I did that in the navigation, I think. All right. So I might have to go back. That's okay. Let me finish this real quick and let me talk about what this is doing. So when I save it, you can see it now over there on the right in my mobile design. I don't love this vertical always seen navigation. I don't think the navigation should take up so much space on a mobile. So that's why we see hamburger menus now and different ways of, dropping down the menu for the user. And then if somebody has no idea, there we go, here's the center text. If somebody has no idea like how to use a hamburger menu, I want to make sure that I have multiple access points for the other pages that are going to provide the information that I need. So I'll put text down in, the actual content too. Just add sentences or, where it makes sense. Like it says, Pacific Trails Resorts includes a sumptuously appointed private yurt. So I could link to yurts there. All right, so moving into the header. This is number 5 on page 301. I'm finding the header. I'm just going to go ahead and do this comment structure because I love it. Let's go find where the header ends. Something that I want to emphasize too, just as a web designer in general, as a programmer in general, is kind of getting away from being so dependent on your mouse and really getting into keyboarding. And PC gamers are going to have, it's going to be easy for y'all because you just learn how to use your keyboard really well. I learned to use my keyboard well when I was an office manager and I did a ton of data entry. I forced myself because it saved a ton of time for me to actually not have to look at the keys so much. Okay, so this header element selector, I have to remove the style declarations for padding and height. So we're going to get rid of all that. Obviously, I use my mouse when I'm selecting text, and to get to other parts of the screen easily. I could do keyboard shortcuts all day. It's an accessibility feature found in everything. But I haven't gotten there yet. Okay, we're changing that H1. That H1 is definitely bigger. And notice I put H1 within the header because it's a child element of the header, right? H1 is in the header. Our navigation is its very own thing. All right, so I'm giving it a padding top, 0.5 EM, so half of a regular font size. And let's see. All right, so there we go. That is it. Oh, just kidding. That's not it. I gotta find the section. That's right. Gotta find the section and remove all the section selectors, all style declarations. So just get rid of the whole thing. And we're going to add this back. We're going to add a version of this back, and it's going to be with the grid. And that's going to be in 4, task 4 on the large display. Because we're going to have a grid of 3 columns, but it's rather than being so restrictive with that, it has to be 33%. We're going to let the grid define those columns. All right, so something I've been super slack on, you guys. I've been slack on having you validate your CSS. And it's obvious. It's obvious that people aren't validating their CSS and their HTML because there's all these errors that if I validate it, it throws errors. So that must mean you're not validating it. And if you're validating it and you're getting errors, guess what you should do? Talk to me, right? Okay, so I'm going to copy this whole thing, Control A, Alt Tab back here into direct input, Control V, just kidding, and check. Boom. I did it great. That's wonderful. Okay, it also is nice to just see some green and, get some happy thoughts that you did a good job. Now, I will show you. I messed up. I messed up big time in task 3, I think, when I was doing media queries. So I'm going to show you why it was so important that I used the CSS validator tool. See you in the next video when we go through task 3 of Pacific Trails in chapter 8.